I think we may have found our new favorite haunt in Southern California. We recently just visited the Queen Mary Dark Harbor for the very first time, and let me just say we were blown away. It outlived our expectations. Now on this channel, we've been to a ton of different Halloween events and haunts, so going to a Halloween event like this, it isn't out of our wheelhouse. But this is the first time in the past couple years, ever since COVID, that they opened back up the Queen Mary with the Dark Harbor. We had the opportunity to go to Midsummer Scream over the summer and be inside of the Dark Harbor panel when they were announcing all of the new mazes and everything like that for this event. Everyone in the room was super hyped. They brought out the characters on stage. Me and my wife, we didn't really know who these characters were, but we were excited because everyone else was excited. They had pre-sale tickets available, and we said, screw it, let's get them. We decided to get VIP. I said, if we're gonna go for the very first time, I wanna make sure that we can do pretty much everything all in one shot. I'll let you guys know a little bit later in the video, what do I think about getting the VIP versus general admission. With all that being said, when it was time to go to the event, we had no idea really what to expect. We've never actually been down there to even see the boat or any of the stuff that was really down there. We did have someone else that came with us that been there before in the past, years and years ago. So they were kind of our guide a little bit, but we still had no idea what to really expect. The one thing I will say, when we first showed up, I was just impressed with the sheer size of the Queen Mary. We've heard about it, but just seeing it itself, just right there, I was like, wow, this is like massive. Just the stage of everything was really cool. Just seeing the actual boat. So even just going down there, I think even when it's not the Halloween season would be really cool just because of the boat itself adds so much to offer. Since we had the early access, getting through security and everything like that was a breeze. We got through security, we took some pictures, and we were able to get inside of the actual event. When we first walked in, it was really cool to see just all the set pieces that were just put up and everything like that. Since we were there a little bit earlier, some of the scare actors, they weren't fully activated yet, if that makes sense.
Hey, about time you showed up. All this time to prepare for your arrival.
But it gave us a chance to kind of like walk around and just see what everything kind of looked like before the event fully started off. But when the event first started off for the early access, they only have the 2 mazes that are going to be open. So we said, screw it, let's jump in line, let's go right on the first maze. Speaking of mazes, they have 5 different mazes at this event: Lullaby, Infirmary, Feast, Big Top, and Breakout. So the cool thing about this event is Feast, Lullaby, and Infirmary were all on the ship. So before you even come to the event, when you buy your tickets online, they do have an online waiver form that you do have to fill out. I do think it is because of at this event, the mazes are very different. The big thing that I really liked about all of the haunted houses that were on the ship is how they really utilized the ship of you going up and down of the different levels. They played around a lot with the different sounds, the sights, being claustrophobic. And the thing I really liked about this event is that they had the scare actors, they were out there kind of in the open, so they can follow you a bit. So the way that I like to think of it, I think of horror nights of being the more mainstream of more of your traditional, there is a boo hole, there is some type of scene, so someone kind of distracts you and someone pops out of a boo hole. That's something that you would see more at local haunts. At this event, there wasn't really many boo holes where people could just pop out of. There were characters that were kind of off to the side so they could kind of just startle you, but a lot of the actors were out there in the open though too, so that they can just follow you, talk to you, and do different things. So it was cool. Since we did have the VIP, we were able to go through mazes twice. The actors remembered us and they said, hey, you guys are back again. One of the things I will say that I really liked about all of the mazes here were just the fact when they were on the boat, it felt claustrophobic and it felt dark. A lot of sections I had to duck down, try to get through, and just the way that they had it all laid out, I thought it was beautiful. I'm gonna play you guys a couple clips just to show you what I mean. And I don't want to give it away, but I think at the end of Feast, there was a really cool effect that they did with a bridge that I thought was really, really cool. So I could definitely tell here they can do things that they can't do at more of the big mainstream type of haunted houses. So I thought that was really cool. And then speaking of doing things that are completely out of the normal, they had speakeasies inside of the actual maze. I didn't know how that was gonna work. I knew even at Midsummer Screen, they were talking about how getting the tokens from the captain, if he was walking around, that you could get tokens from him to go to these speakeasies. But I think now the big thing is though you can buy the tokens to have access to the speakeasies. But if you have the VIP, you get access to all of the different speakeasies. So it's quite literally inside of the mazes. There's a speakeasy. If you have a token, you can go to the person and they'll let you into the speakeasy, which is like a little bar inside of the maze. I didn't know how that was going to work because I was thinking, like, how are they going to do that inside of a haunted house? Won't people behind you be like confused if they don't know anything about it? Will they try to follow you in? Will they let them in? You know, I just didn't know how that was going to work. But it did work pretty well. But you have to figure out where it is. A little hint, if there's a person there kind of standing with like a bag where they collect the tokens, that's where it is. Even though we didn't get a chance to see all of the speakeasies, we did see the one inside of Breakout, which I thought was cool. They did have mocktails, which I appreciated. It was pretty cool. It was a really small, cramped little area though, but you had to finish your drinks before you can go back into the maze. But they do have a way for you to go through the speakeasy to get back into the main rotation of the maze. So I thought that was cool, at least. So for sure, that is something that you wouldn't see at a more mainstream type of event like Horror Nights, where there's just a ton of people being funneled through constantly. So that was kind of cool, something totally unique. And then I will say for the mazes that weren't on the actual ship, you had Big Top and you had Breakout. Those mazes still had different things within the maze that I thought was really cool. Inside of Big Top, they did have a section where you had to walk over a floor that was kind of moving. There was like a bridge effect where the thing was spinning. It did slightly remind me at Not Scary Farm inside the Mesmer maze where there's kind of effects like that. But I thought here they did them a lot better and it was more convincing. It was nice to see they did have a wheelchair accessible section, so you can still have an effect, but you will go through a different door. So I did think that was nice. And then inside Breakout, there was a section where you had to either kneel or crawl through a different section, which I thought was really cool. It completely took me off guard. I was like, oh, that's really cool. One of the interesting things about Dark Harbor that I really liked is that they had a lot of animatronics inside of the mazes that were set up on motion sensors. And when they went off, they made a lot of noise. So even though there was a good amount of sections that we were going through where it was just animatronics, just the fact that they made so much noise and they were just screaming and moving so much, I can see how that would be very scary without there being actual scare actors in there with you. And then pairing that when there were some scare actors in there with you, it really made for a really cool effect. Another effect I thought was really cool was at the end of Breakout when you were going through, like it's literally at the very end, you have to go through like a tunnel. I quite literally could not see in front of me. It was so foggy. There's lights being blasted in your face, so you can't see anything, but there's scare actors in there with you. You're going through a tunnel. It seems like it's forever and you have to make it through. And there's people with you. They're just talking to you. You can just see their shadows on the side of you. I thought that was a really cool effect. There was a group that was in front of us. They went through quick enough that like I couldn't see them anymore. And I was just like, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just walking straight. Hopefully I don't run into anyone in front of me. I don't know. But I thought that was a really cool effect. So things like that they can do here that they can't really do at other places, I thought that was really cool. Besides for the actual mazes, the event itself was unique. I did like how there was some rides and stuff like that there. We didn't do any of the rides. You had to pay for that separate, which I thought was kind of weird. If you have VIP, all that should be included, but I get it. That's kind of different. So you could buy tickets to actually do the rides, but that wasn't the biggest thing for us. We wanted to really go and experience all of the haunted attractions. They did have the big main stage where they did have some performances. They also had a DJ, which was actually really cool. It really felt like a party vibe while we were sitting down, just kind of eating food. That was really cool. Definitely a bit different than like any other event where it really felt like it was a party. I mean, for a moment there, I was just like, it seems like we're at like a rave. Like, this is really cool. Now, when it comes down to food, I've literally never seen this before. It was the biggest smoker when it comes down to like meat smoking I've ever seen in my entire life. It was just racks and racks and racks of meat out and a giant smoker. it looked really appetizing, so we said screw it, let's get it. I think it was like 22 bucks for like a big shish kebab. It was literally the size of 3 paper plates long of just pork, and I think there was sausage and a bun on it. It was really good. It was honestly, it was too much food for like 3 of us. So that's actually not that bad for $22. One of the negative things I will say is the bathroom. So during this event, none of the bathrooms that are open on the ship are open to the public. They just have porta potties, and the lines were long. So long that we just said, screw it, we'll just hold it. I'm not gonna wait in this line. It's gonna take us forever just to wait in this line. So I will say plan accordingly for that. If you do have to use the bathroom, don't wait till it's the last minute, because you can't get to a bathroom extremely quickly. So that's one thing I will say I didn't really care for. I wish there was some other way that they could do that, but I figured if they're doing this event, they probably just don't have access to the bathrooms that are on the ship, so they have to just do it this way. So for context, it was a Friday, early October, and the crowd levels weren't terrible. I will say for all the mazes that were on the boat itself, the general admission lines were fairly long, but not to the point where I felt like it would have been hours waiting in line. With the VIP, we were able to pretty much just walk right on. All the other mazes, so Big Top and Breakout, the general line wasn't long at all. You could wait. It would take you maybe 10 minutes to get into the maze, so that wasn't bad. But for all the mazes that were on the ship, it was definitely a lot longer. But with the VIP, we showed up a little bit before 7, and I think we were done at like 10:30-ish. Before like 11, we were pretty much done with everything. So we were able to pretty much do everything that we wanted to do, have a chance to stand, eat some food, and then leave. It was a pretty good night. I would say if you're going earlier in the season, I probably wouldn't get the VIP or get the Fast Pass. I think general admission would probably be fine. If you're going closer to Halloween, obviously it's gonna be more and more packed, so I would go then. We do have 2 more trips planned, one more a little bit closer to Halloween and one more after Halloween, because they're gonna be celebrating the Day of the Dead. So I'm really excited about that. I'll let you guys know how the crowd levels are then, and we'll probably film those videos as well. Overall, my ranking on this place, I would definitely give it A, if not an A+. I thought overall it was really cool. The biggest thing that I would say was the negative thing about it was just the bathrooms. And then also I will say when it came down to finding places to sit, there wasn't really a ton of different places to like sit and eat. So you had to kind of stand. We were lucky enough to find one table that we could stand at to eat our food. But that's kind of how things go when there's just a lot of people. There's going to be a ton of people going to the bathroom, a ton of people wanting to eat food and everything like that. So you're going to have to wait in line and try to just figure out where you're going to go. So those are things that you can't really help. But still, though, it would have been nicer if it was a little bit more bathrooms, just so the line wasn't so long. And if I have to compare it to any other place, I would say it felt a bit more like a hometown haunt versus Not Scary Farm, just because they could do a little bit more different things and be a little bit more creative, just because they had more freedom to do stuff. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit different than just your traditional horror nights or something like that, with actually good production value, with good set design and just good makeup and just good performers in general, this place is definitely a good place to come check out. And honestly, we would go there a lot more if there was some type of season ticket or something like that. I don't know if they had it before in the past, if they just don't have it this year because this is the first year they're bringing it back, or if they never did that before. But if there was some type of season pass or something like that, we would definitely go a lot more. But we go to all of the other events just because of we can buy season pass, we can experience them more and more. So we'll see, but we do have 2 more trips planned this year, so I'm excited for that. But speaking of first years for events, check this video out. This was last year when we went to SeaWorld San Diego when they did their first year of their Halloween event. Check this video out. It was definitely different, definitely interesting. So check this video out. It was a really cool time. See you guys in theme parks.